Hail, weary podcast traveler and well met. I see your adventure through the depths of the internet has led you here to sliding into the DMs. Now, this is not a podcast for the dirty boys, as the name implies, but rather a D&D advice and creative concepts podcast where these three nerds take your questions, suggestions, and pop culture influences to turn them into playable content, making goofs all along the way. This show is for everyone, from level 1 adventurers just stepping into the realm of D&D to the level 19 Dragon Slayer. Their aim is to help both players and DMs alike. Even Gary Gygax needed help sometimes. Just ask Dave Arneson. So step into our tavern, take off your cloak of Elvenkind, and spend some time sliding into the DMs.
Roll for initiative.
9.
I got a 2.
Woo! Wow, I thought I was bad when I rolled a 3. Shit, Cameron.
That's all you, bud.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 9. Oh, wait.
Oh, so
that's
it's all
me,
you.
bud.
Yeah, what are you talking?
I do that.
Like, are
That's
you
all
going
you.
backwards today? Is it opposite
Yeah, no.
way?
It is, but...
He doesn't know.
So...
Bruce gets confused. He doesn't know numbers. Leave him alone.
I'm colorblind, okay?
He's colorblind and he doesn't know numbers.
He's diabetic. He doesn't know numbers.
So, since this is opposite day, this is not sliding into the DMs. You are not welcome. And this isn't a podcast where we create fun ideas for D&D campaigns and all that other good stuff. And my name is not Bruce, and I'm not the mad scientist. Muhahaha.
Opposite day was yesterday, so you better recant all of that.
Aw, crap. Alright, start over.
Well, that was Bruce. This is sliding into the DMs, and I am Trevor. Still coming up with a new nickname because Continuity Conductor ain't cutting it anymore. I can be your question guy. What up? No.
The Forum Hunter.
Cameron, what you got?
Oh.
Forum Hunter.
And I'm Cameron, also known as Bored as Noodles, from the TikTok world. But that's about all about me.
Alright, so since I rolled highest and I have nothing prepared, let's talk about... So I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks lately, and I got an idea for a question we got a couple episodes ago about a world or a realm that has an issue with souls being transferred to wherever the beyond is or whatever they're going to. And
nothing could leave the world.
yeah, like all this...
Live or dead.
Yeah.
Live or dead, they couldn't exit.
Yeah, so... This book I listened to was one of the first books. It was the first book in the series called The Chronicles of the Necromancer. And in this book, it was about this young kid who's coming of age, and he is a part of the royal family in this realm. And this realm is not known for magic. There's very few casters in this world, and one of the casters is something called a soul mage or a spirit mage. And they are the ones who can see and talk to spirits after they pass, and they can help them, go to the beyond, if they have any unresolved business. They can bridge that gap between the two worlds of the living and the dead. And I really liked it, and it gave me an idea for that campaign setting of, these souls can't pass from this world to the next, or to the great beyond, or wherever it is. And so because of that, they're all staying there, and they're petrifying and all this other stuff, or they're, putrefying or getting corrupted and stuff like that. So I thought for that campaign, that would be the kind of same idea where you have a soul mage who is kind of in control or is like the guide for those souls who have unresolved business to go to the great beyond. So my idea was, like in the book, this soul mage has been missing for years. Probably like 15 to 20 years this soul mage has been missing. So the world seems like it's going on like normal, but really there's like this buildup of ghosts and spirits. And so like there's a section in the book where they're talking about this forest that is just packed full of these stagnant souls, and these stagnant souls will like attack and murder travelers who go through there because they were led there under false pretenses by a wicked king and then slaughtered. And so because of that, they have all this unresolved emotion, or they need to exact revenge, and they can't because they're just spirits now, and they can only do so much. And so my idea is, you have your party in this campaign setting, and they know about, there's limited casters in this world, or that, like they're thrown into this world, so they're one of the few casters that there are, if they are casters, and they hear about, why the world is so wicked the way it is, and it's because this soul mage or the spirit mage has been missing, and they don't know where it is, and there's like this when they left, there was like this great fight with, they call him the Obsidian King. There was this great battle between the one powerful soul mage and this Obsidian King, who is this dark presence that was being summoned at the time and possessed another soul mage. And so they fought it out, and then they just went missing. No one knows where they are. And then your party can kind of find out where that fight took place and kind of try and find the backstory there, and like find, like little plot points to point them in the right direction. The whole time, all the encounters can be kind of tailored by you, or they can be like a roll table. And then after they get enough information, you kind of lead them to this dungeon that they have to traverse. And once they get down to the bottom layer of the dungeon, there is, one of the NPCs they met along the way, who is actually the bad guy and is trying to release this Obsidian King from a magical orb of containment. And what they find out, like earlier in the campaign, is that the last great powerful soul mage was there to seal away the Obsidian King in this orb, right? Well, they didn't realize that a part of the components to seal him away was themselves, and so they're stuck in there too. And so they can either help release the Obsidian King and thereby the last great powerful soul mage and have a NPC to aid them in the combat against the Obsidian King, or they can try and stop the NPC bad guy who's trying to release the Obsidian King and thereby stop and halt the release of this great and powerful, evil being. But they need to find the successor to the soul mage, because every generation, or every so many generations, there's a new soul mage that's born, and this one just hasn't been found and trained in the right way yet. So that's kind of like a basic generic pick and pull of the book. And
kind of like an Avatar.
Yeah. Exactly, like the Avatar. There's one person who can unite all the elements, and so they just need to find and train that person. Normally it's someone of the same lineage of that soul mage, and that's some information they could pick up along the way. Or it's, another great and powerful being just needs to be trained in that right way. And so, I don't know. It was just something that popped in my head when I was listening to that book, and I thought it might work with that campaign setting.
So what you're telling me is, in order to find this mage, they have to go into the
Oh, God.
Into the
Okay, you can't sing anymore because we don't have the rights to that.
Yeah, I know. Disney is a bitch. They'll come after you so hard.
We hear. We hear that they're a bitch. We can't get sued for libel either.
Oh, sorry. Someone once said Disney's a bitch.
I heard.
I don't know who that person was.
I heard
Mark
somewhere
Ruffalo.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, no. He works for them.
In Mexico. I heard that in Mexico.
Some Puerto Rican
Just
guy
like where all the
told me.
street racing happens.
Yes.
Quote, in Mexico. So, anyway, sorry. My brain was just thinking that the whole time you were talking.
Awesome. Thank you.
But, no, it was a good idea. One thought I did have while you were talking, what if, as they're going on this quest, towards the end, what they find out is actually one of the members of the party is the next soul mage.
I did think that, but my mind always goes to, well, most D&D parties are basically 7-year-olds, and they're going to be like, well, why did they get all the power? Well, why did they get to be the soul mage?
There's gonna be fighting over what?
Yeah.
It's gonna be
So I could see that being.
And that's why it's a great mic drop. Okay?
Yeah.
Because then you get to watch everybody argue over why so and so is the soul mage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Unless you only have one caster in the party, then go for it, because it has to be someone who can cast magic.
I mean, but
Or maybe it's someone who doesn't cast.
If you made it to where there can only be one caster,
and they've just repressed this
they're
casting
gonna know.
for their entire life.
Know.
Yeah. They're never gonna know.
They're gonna
How
know.
would they know?
They're gonna know.
Yeah, they'll never. They won't know. How would they know?
They're gonna know.
How would they know?
They're just gonna know.
Oh.
Anywho,
Damn it.
But that was my idea.
Anywho's it.
If anyone else has ideas or sees any plot holes there or wants to add their 2 cents, please go to the Facebook page, drop it in there, say, hey, you guys are idiots for not thinking of this. You know, all that good stuff, and then we'll delete the post or something. I don't know.
I need to find some coins because I don't have 2 cents to give you right now.
Aw.
How about a question?
Wish I had. I don't even have 2 cents to rub together. Okay.
What's your question?
So we have a question. It is a listener question. This is Dr. Jones Osmosis 24.
Hey, I know that person. Miss 24.
Yes.
You know what's better than
This
24?
is what?
25.
Oh no.
You guys are bad people, okay?
We are. She's a great person.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Cameron knows this listener because she comes to us from the TikTok.
one of my
Right.
followers.
Yes, that's right. You can message us on the TikTok as well. So Dr. Jones Osmosis 24 from the TikTok wants to know: do you think me making an Aasimar cleric named Judas is as amazing as what I think it is?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's really good.
Hey, Bruce. Hey, Bruce.
Yes.
There's also a follow-up question.
Oh, okay.
There's also a follow-up question.
Please do.
If it helps, he's a lawful evil warpiest.
You can't see it, but I'm nodding in approval.
Warpiest. It's a
He's a
warpiest.
warpiest?
I knew what you were trying to say, but I was gonna let you die on the cross there.
Oh man.
Oh, gosh. You guys have some real passion for this.
Oh, yeah, we're all going to hell.
Damn.
Every one of us.
Yeah.
Right as we end this podcast, it's never going to be edited. It's just going to stay in the can, and we're all going to go straight to hell.
I mean, I was going there before, but
Yeah, I
got
agree
my
that it's
VIP
really
pass.
good. Nice.
it's really good.
I got a spot reserved next
It's
to Gandhi,
freaking
is what I
hilarious.
always say.
Oh.
Oh my god.
You don't know what he was into.
Because he already burned. Because he already burned.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, this is such a dark...
it's a very dark show. We should not record this late anymore.
I love it.
Oh
We
god.
chose
Okay.
violence tonight, and I don't know if our
Chaotic
listeners are ready
evil.
Are you
for
saying-
it.
Is it? Are we dark because it's dark? Because it's night.
God damn it, we gotta move on.
Yes. All right.
Yes, I think this character
Okay.
is a great decision. Can we think of any other characters that would be terrible yet good?
Yes.
Okay, go.
No.
Damn it.
No.
What else? Oh, how about a ranger changeling named Waldo?
Uh-huh.
So he could
'Cause
be
you never
Where's
know where
Waldo?
he is.
Yeah. Or like a swashbuckler rogue, and he's a dwarf who wears all blue with gold accents, and he really loves breakfast, and his name is Captain Crunch.
Why?
A crippled ranger named Legolas.
That's so bad.
Oh,
So bad.
Legolas. Stupid, and I hate you.
Okay. Thank you.
All
All right. Do you want another question?
How about a merfolk monk with no arms and no legs, and his name is Bob?
Oh god damn it. Oh no, because he just bobs in the water.
You know
Oh.
where you find him? Where you left him. It's not going anywhere.
Where you left him. Just name him Lefty. We left him there.
Yep. All right.
Oh god. Okay. Dakota, also from the TikToks, wants to know tips for selecting and joining a new group.
Ooh.
Tips.
Bruce,
Just the tip?
Bruce, she needs some tips. Just the tip. She wants just the tip.
Just the tips.
For not. Yeah, they want just the tip for selecting and joining a new group.
Dakota's actually, that's the little trash panda from TikTok. She and I might actually meet up in the future.
Yeah. Let's play a game then. Boom. We
Crazy.
helped.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
found us.
Boom. Group
Yeah.
made.
You found us.
I think when trying to select a new group, I think you have to go into it without a game in mind. Like, don't go into it ready to play D&D outright. Maybe if there's a session 0, where they're going to kind of talk about character design and what the story is going to kind of be, or what the setting is. I think listening to that and figuring out if it's something you want to do, and kind of hearing the other people talk about what their character is and does, that might be a good help to kind of figure out if you're gonna fit with that kind of group. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'd say for selecting a group that you're about to join, definitely think about what makes D&D fun for you. Are you the type of person that loves the RP? Are you a type of person that is into heavy battle? Are you
what style of RP?
Puzzle person?
What style of RP? Are you going to be serious? Is it going to be funny? Is it going to be kind of half and half? Yeah.
Yeah, if you want some funny RP, probably get on with Dr. Osmosis.
Yeah. That
Dr.
sounds
Jones
like a rad
Osmosis
game.
24.
So, I would just watch your back, always.
Yeah. So, God damn it. So kind of think about what makes it fun for you, and then in selecting a group, try to find a group that's gonna kind of coincide with those and get on board with them. There is tons of games going on all over the place, whether it be online adventure leagues or just people in your hometown, people in your state like California, like Cameron, aka Bored as Noodles.
Mm-hmm. Bruce, aka Bunt
Bruce,
Cake.
aka the Mad Scientist,
aka
Bunt Cake, aka so
Super Bruce on YouTube, but I don't do anything, so it doesn't matter.
So yeah, just think about what you like and find that group. They're out there.
Sometimes you don't get to do a session 0. Sometimes you just kind of, you don't really get that chance. Another good option you could probably do is hitting up your comic book store, hitting up your game store, hitting up places like that where, they do those things where they have Magic cards and they have D&D nights and they have Pokemon trading card nights and they have stuff like that. Go in and talk to the guy behind the desk and ask him kind of like, do you guys do a D&D tabletop night? What kind of the groups are like, and ask kind of what the setting is, or if it's an adventure league, ask what the adventure is for this certain time period, and see, kind of what they have lined up, and how serious it is, or how, relaxed it is, and you can kind of get a feel for that. Talking to people can be intimidating, but you'll find that you get way better results, and you'll be a lot happier if you just try. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and just kind of see where it goes, because you can always just bounce out of there, The worst they can say is no.
Just like you did right now.
Yeah. The worst they...
Just like you asked us a question, go ask someone else, questions about their D&D game.
Yeah.
You have the confidence to ask us a question, and we appreciate that. We're not scary people, so that probably helps.
Yeah.
But the big scary guy behind the counter might be a little intimidating, but just remember, you had the courage to ask us.
Yeah.
So take that same courage and walk forward with it, and ask the guy at your local game store if they have a D&D game night, and kind of inquire questions about it, like Bruce is saying, and find the place that has the right fit for you.
And the perfect thing is right now, because we live in the plague times, is you have to wear a mask anyway, so they're not even going to know what you look like. If you don't like what they say or you don't like what they got going on, you can leave. They're never going to know it was you.
Put on a panda mask.
Yeah.
Or a raccoon mask.
Trash panda? Raccoon.
Trash panda. Raccoon. Put on a raccoon mask. Go in there.
All right, next question.
We got your back. Don't forget that. And if that guy who you asked wants to be a dick, tell us about it. We'll go find him.
Tell us about it.
Don't think we won't.
Give us the address. Give us the address, the make and model of his car, and we'll handle it. Don't worry about it.
Get it.
We'll
roll up on him like rolling dice. Get it? Like
get it. We'll throw dice in his gas tank.
We'll roll him.
And then we'll cut his brake lines. I mean,
we'll put.
Wait, what?
We'll put some D4s underneath his tires, so when he backs up, done.
You know what happens when you step on a D4? Take D4 damage.
Take D4 damage. Oh god.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
What's next? You want another question? You want me to hit you again?
Yes.
Want me to hit you again?
I want to hear Cameron answer this one, though. So no one say anything until he's answered it thoroughly.
Thoroughly. Because I know so much about D&D.
Exactly.
I played one match of D&D in my entire life with you two.
That shows how much you've played because you said match.
Yeah, exactly. One match.
Exactly.
I play more Call of Duty, and
All
they
right.
played in matches.
I will throw us out a question from a forum.
Yes,
Before we
the forum
go back
ranger.
to the forum ranger. This one is from Kaylee626. I think I'm saying Kaylee right.
It's Kylie.
Khaly.
It's actually Haley. The K
626.
is silent, like knife.
The K is, yeah, maybe like knife or knight. She's a knight in Haley
You
armor.
filthy English niggets.
Kaylee, whatever. Okay, that person says, "Hey folks, a DMing question for you all. What are some tips for keeping players focused, using their time for productive purposes whenever they've returned to their home base or have gone off visiting a town before getting to the meat of the quest? Context. I love my players, and they're an incredible group, but there's been an emerging problem of plot and sessions getting bogged down. God, I can't talk today. Bogged down with them wanting to RP every bit of
Minutia.
Some example. It says minute.
Yeah.
I even stopped because I wanted to make sure it didn't say minute, but it definitely says minute. Some examples include they're going to a new climate or particular function. They ask for a shopping montage or side quest for materials for a tailor. Give us multiple options for all of our characters in the store, they say. Or they're back at headquarters. They want to RP every moment of training and spell prep, and every meal is an occasion. In a new city, split up and do individual RP anytime. It's an option. I want to be clear that I'm not mad, nor do I want to mock my players or veto all their fun, but when this stuff gets long-winded or when the players hesitate on what they want, literally nothing happens, and people get bored waiting for their turns. I have a few players who get antsy with me over it every session, and I'm trying to be short of telling people that they're hogging airtime or repeating irrelevant information. I'm not sure how to keep them action-oriented when they're not in harm's way. It also kills my fun as a DM because they miss tons of shit I had planned that we have to put off or never see. And it requires me to improvise details at such a microscopic level sometimes. I get that I've really made a lore-heavy world and they want to experience their characters fully, but they can do that gradually over the course of things. Isn't that what should be happening? What do y'all think I'm missing?"
So as a person who develops
No,
very lore-heavy
Cameron.
worlds,
No, you should. You
I
you
want
shut your
to
mouth.
hear what Cameron has to say.
No, there you go. All right.
Oh dear. Oh my Lanta. Well, to me it sounds like obviously the players are trying to just get the full experience out of the game. Do as much as they can. See, it's almost like a child poking fun. Like, how much can I get away with? How much can I, like, stress my DM out almost to see, like, what won't they do? And the more that you let them get away with in a way, the more that they're going to test those waters and push those boundaries. So I think the best way to put it would be to just let them know before you start the game again, just to be like, hey, can we try to keep things more on track? I mean, I don't mind doing these, but we get lost on the side of the small stuff when there's the big picture here that we're all missing, and, then we've got 5 people here, and you're wanting to do something in the store, and you're wanting to do something, and then this person's sitting there for an hour and a half just, like, twiddling their thumbs because you're wanting to see how many arrows are they selling in this shop or something ridiculous like that. Like, I think you just have to have a heart-to-heart pretty much with your whole party to be like, hey, can we, like, not do that, please? I'd appreciate it. I mean, I think that would just be the most honest way to go about it.
I think that's great.
Okay, Bruce, go.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's a great way to do it.
As somebody who's only played one match of D&D, I'll say it again just to bug y'all. That's what I'd do.
Oh, now you're seeing how much you can push these DMs buttons?
Yes.
Listen, buddy.
See, the problem is we have a server mute on our side.
Oh, that's right, you do.
Do you know
You do.
Do you know what happens when people push our buttons as DMs, a bar falls from the sky.
Yeah, I've done it multiple times. A tavern
That's always
falls out of the sky and lands on your character. Roll a new character and get on track. No. As someone who...
He says that and then it doesn't actually happen. He kind of just makes the joke.
Make the threat.
And gets the point across.
Yeah, especially when they're asking you 37 times whose boat is it, or who owns the boat, and you have to try not to reach across the table and strangle them. You threaten to drop a bar out of the sky on them, and then they ask whose bar is it, and then you actually do it, and then now you have a TPK and you're ready to go. You can get a trash panda and start a new group.
So that little inside joke comes from our party was on an airship at the session 1 of our game.
Yep.
And the rogue decided, I want to steal this ship. And he said, okay, I want to steal this. Whose ship is it?
Like, it's, you guys technically own it. Like, you guys are part of the team that this boat belongs to. So technically it's your boat.
But he wouldn't let it go at that, because he really just wanted to steal it. He wanted to steal things because he was a rogue, and it was his first time playing a rogue. So he didn't let it go at, it's pretty much your boat. No, I don't want pretty much.
Yeah.
Whose ship is it?
I want the keys. Do boats have keys? I want the keys of the boat. Yeah. But, so what...
And it kept going on, and now it's a running joke for them that anytime we're doing anything, but whose ship is it?
Anywho...
It's ours, but it's not mine.
As someone who builds crazy lore-heavy worlds, where I basically manufacture the backstories and the build-up of each and every NPC that they come across, it's hard for me because there's a lot of like little details and little things that I put in that I think are really cool and enjoyable that our party totally walks by. For instance, they came across a minotaur in the woods chopping down trees, and they came across him, and, you know, they're like, hey, did you see these people come by here? And he says, no, I've been out here chopping wood because my entire city has been attacked by these crazy gold-faced monsters, and I'm just trying to find lumber and wood that doesn't belong to any townships so that I can take it back and help them rebuild. And they said, okay, bye, have a beautiful time, and they kept on walking. And I was like, God damn it. And he had a crazy... He had a crazy rich backstory, and we actually played in a one-shot the beginning of his backstory, because the family that raised him to be kind of like a domesticated, air quotes, minotaur, was... The family that raised him was called the Brubecks. And they played out the campaign where the Brubecks and this other competing family fought over territory that then became the town that he lived in and is like the head townsperson for. And they totally just walked by him. And it's heartbreaking, but hey. And then that town ended up falling completely and being destroyed, so.
Yeah. So I think to kind of sum up here, first off, I think it's important to indulge them slightly, because that's what makes the game fun for them. Mm-hmm. But since it's also not fun for some of the other players, you got to kind of have a talk with them and just be like, hey, I'm good with, doing this every once in a while, or, exploring and really getting into detail here and there, but we just need to dial it back a little bit, because a lot of players, and myself included, would kind of like to get on with some story and some battle, just so we can make it fun for everyone. I will allow you to do this every once in a while, but just dial it back, where we're not doing this every session. This game isn't all about you. It's a group storytelling, so we need to try to include the group a little more, and then we can all have some fun. And kind of just sitting down with the players that are doing this and explaining that to them, I think, is the best way to go about it. Just open line of communication is always the number one go-to.
And if you're a non-confrontational kind of person, like even that minor confrontation of sitting there and telling them, like, look, this is kind of like for everyone, and we don't want to, like, we're not pointing fingers, we're not saying names, we're not doing any of that. We're just kind of saying, hey, for everyone's enjoyment, let's, like, try and keep an eye on what we're doing and making sure everyone's having a good time. Even that kind of confrontation can be a little much for people sometimes. So another thing you can do, kind of what I was getting at before, was that as someone who does do that, they build a lot of lore into the world, and they have a lot of little plot points and stuff like that that you can easily miss if you don't interact with these certain kinds of people. What you can do is, when you are indulging those people in their role-playing of a shopping trip, or, you know, getting new wardrobes for a colder climate, or whatever it is, take some of the details that they could get from those other people in that area about that certain thing that they're going to go do, and give it to someone else. We talked about this a while back, of like how to thread plot points in to different situations by creating a skeleton where you don't have the information being like gatekeepered by a certain person. You have it kind of open and available, and then whenever they interact with someone, that's the person who gets it. So if they want to go shopping for cold climate like wear, and they're going to some kind of royal banquet and there's going to be some kind of intrigue there, have the, you know, clothing person be a gossip. Have them be like, oh, so you're going over here to go to this royal banquet. Oh, I hear that the queen's brother is sleeping around with the Duchess of whatever, and have them drop in those plot points while they're doing their shopping trip. And then those people who are not having so much fun looking for clothes in an imaginary world, they can get their hint from that and be like, oh, well, what have you heard? Or like, who's the Duchess of whatever? And, you know, and then they can have their fun too, kind of interacting with that NPC and figuring out what information they can get. Or while the party is going and looking for clothes, you separate the party and have them go look for information or go and interact with certain people, and you just dial back those encounters and run them at the same time. So how you would do that is you have everyone roll initiative, even the people in the store, and then you give them their time at the initiative. So like if they're looking for cold weather wear and you're also running a small combat at the same time, when their initiative comes up, you switch the whole scene and say, okay, we're going to jump to this scene now. You guys are in the store. You have no idea what's going on over there. And the, you know, person brings out this beautiful blue coat. It's got this, this, and this. And they can interact like a couple back and forths, not anything too long, and say like, okay, that's going to be 22 gold pieces if you want this. And they're like, oh, I don't think I want this one yet. And they're like, okay, that's your turn. Let's go to the next person. Okay. The Grawl has just, you know, lobbed a boulder at you and is going to smash you with his, you know, crazy, beefy, you know, spiked arm. Roll a dexterity save. And you just kind of run them at the same time. It's a little confusing in the beginning, but I think it could be really fun and kind of weird and dynamic, and it'll make them engage.
See, this is why you're a much better DM than me. Because my thought was way worse. I'm also kind of an asshole, so
that's why we called you the conductor for so long. Is like you were just like, come on, guys, let's go.
See, I would like my thought was like if they're doing this all the time, then stop indulging them all the time, and when they go into a shop and they want to, like Cameron was saying, oh, you have arrows. How many types of arrows do you have? What do they look like? This, that, and everything. Then I would just start being like, oh, what type of arrows do they have? They have one arrow.
They have iron
They
arrows.
have a arrow. You could buy it for 500 gold. Now fuck off. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I would take that situation.
I would like
Go ahead.
I would indulge them every once in a while. Like, okay, you know, I've kind of brushed you guys off for like 2 sessions. Okay, I'll kind of
throw them a bone.
I'll indulge you this session, and when you ask questions this time, I will go into detail and give you all kinds of options and do all this stuff. But then another session, I might just be like, yeah, it is. Yeah, there's one arrow. Oh, you want to have a bunch of different clothes options? Okay, well, this guy doesn't actually have any clothes on display in the shop because he's a custom tailor, so you just got to tell him exactly what you want and he'll go in back and make it.
See, that's a very viable option. Like that can totally work. That can be, this is the thing, is like, that is an option that is open. That is a good option. That's not a bad option. I don't think that's bad at all. What I was saying was, you can kind of do both, and that's how my style, I would do it. Like, you guys have done that to me a couple times, where you go into a situation where typically I wouldn't be able to get across the information I wanted you to know, like the whole Battle of the Bands scenario. But during that Battle of the Bands, I was peppering in the stuff that I wanted you guys to get back to, and I think you mostly picked up on it and was kind of guiding the group back to where it was, but I was kind of relying on you being one of the people who was quest-oriented rather than RP-oriented at that time, and so I was just kind of throwing that out for you, so you had something to address and talk about and want to do. So, like, in that situation when you were talking about the arrows, like, you can definitely say, well, they just make arrows. That's all they do. Or you can say, you know, they have your basic arrow, and then they have, like, this weird specialty arrow they're working on. And they're like, okay, well, what's the weird specialty arrow? Well, this is your chance to drop in that little bit of lore, or that little bit of quest information of, like, you know, they're in the area to hunt down this pack of werewolves that keeps, you know, coming and snatching up the flock and all this other stuff. Well, this other arrow they're making is a silvered arrow. And it's like, it's a specialty silvered arrow where if it hits anything that has, you know, a vulnerability to silvered weapons, it does a little bit more damage. And then they get that, you know, RP of wanting to find all the options, but they also get the lore points of where you're trying to lead them.
Yes. Like I said, this is why you're a better DM than I.
I just had to deal with it more than you, I think is what it is at this point.
Most likely, yeah, that's true. That is true. You don't always have a person like myself fucking literally pushing the group through.
Yes, exactly. All right, what do you think? One more question?
Do you want one more?
Yes, please.
Okay. One more.
This is going to be a question-heavy episode, I think.
I think so.
Cameron's going to answer this one, too.
Well,
oh, God.
Which is harder, DMing or being a player?
Answer, Cameron.
Oh, actually, I you know, I've thought about how difficult it could be to be a DM. I definitely think there's a ton of creativity that goes into DMing and making a good story that is captivating and keeps and also being able to, you know, improvise stuff and dialogue during the whole story to make it more interesting. So I definitely feel DMing is 100 times harder than playing a player, just because you have to just I mean, yeah, you have to be on your feet as a player, but the DM's constantly like, oh, you rolled a 14, or oh, you rolled a 20. Like, how am I going to make this action be a 20 or a 14? What is going to happen to the character that can be interesting, possibly humorous, maybe, like, completely dreadful? What am I going to say that's going to, like, grab my audience? And I think that is what makes DMing seem so difficult to me.
So I think obviously DMing and playing are much different, and they're kind of in their own ways a different kind of hard. But in my opinion, I think DMing is the more difficult task to take on, because while the players have the difficulty of fighting whatever boss the DM puts in front of them, or solving the puzzle, or getting on, you know, the quest that they need to be on in order to fulfill it, all this stuff that challenges the players in using their tools at their, you know, they have at their disposal in their character to get through a certain situation. The DM has to make those puzzles, set up that quest, set up that encounter that is going to... So he is solving the puzzle before he even makes it. And I think that's difficult. And like Cameron was saying, you know, putting the creativity into this world that is going to captivate, you know, your entire group, that stuff. And then also the same problems you're dealing with of how do I kill this player, or not this player, kill
that's
this...
my normal problem, is how am I going to kill this player?
That's your problem.
Yeah.
No, how am I going the players, you know, how am I going to kill this enemy, stuff like that. The DM kind of has that same task where it's how am I going to fight these players and use the tools that this NPC has at their disposal in order to fight them. And a lot of times, how do I, you know, make it a tough enough fight to keep it interesting for them while not making it impossible. A lot of the time, Sometimes you do want to make it impossible just for funsies for that TPK. Who doesn't love a good TPK?
Yeah. So...
if you don't know what TPK is, Cameron, that's total party kill.
I figured that out pretty quickly. Like, what I was going to say real quick was, for instance, like a bad DM, you might try to shoot an arrow, you roll, you get a 1, DM's just like, oh, you pull back your arrow, but your arrow goes off in the wrong direction. Like, oh, la-di-da, that's boring. Whereas Bruce, for instance, not to stroke your ego or anything, or rub your beautiful
Oh, no,
bald
please
head,
do.
will be like, you pull back your arrow, but you stumble forward. You slip, and your arrow goes hurtling into the city where it hits a harmless farmer in the shoulder. He goes down. He screams, ah, why have you done this? You rush over to him as he bleeds to death in your arms. Like, he'd do something like that that's more like, oh my god, like, I can't believe I accidentally did that, where it's just like improvising on the spot. Like, that's where you have a good DM and just like a half-assing DM that's like, I'll still like, oh, you got a 1, so your arrow misses entirely. Whereas you would throw in that like, oh my god, something dramatic just happened.
Yeah,
because...
you roll a 1, your arrow, goes hard to the left, and you're aiming, very right. Go ahead and roll damage. And you're like, what do you mean roll damage? Like, go ahead and roll damage for your arrow. Okay, you just killed the little girl that was being pulled away by the werewolf. Like, oh no. Yeah. Yeah. So,
It goes left. It bounces off the piece of granite that was 10 feet to the right, and it when it bounces off, it actually comes back at you.
Yeah.
It hits you in the kneecap. You now have an arrow sticking out of your knee.
Yeah.
You have to make the decision. Are you going to pull that arrow out?
Yeah.
If you pull it out, you have to roll for damage.
See, and I definitely don't do that for every single little thing that can happen. I do like to do that because I think it's really funny, but I think a lot of it is kind of like that intimidation factor of, well, what do I do when they do this? Like, what can happen? And the one thing I can say is, for combats and stuff, and like knowing your creatures and knowing kind of what to do next and what's the next step here, or how do I keep them on plan or on path and going forward but yet interesting, is stat blocks. Creature stat blocks, NPC stat blocks. Just keep a very simple version of what you need to know available to you. Even if it's like a couple clicks away, keeping that stuff available and on, on demand as you can is going to help you out a ton. And for those improv moments, sometimes it's like, well, what would be funny here? Like, I know what the scenario is. I know that this wolf is running away with that sheep, and I know he's trying to shoot it with this arrow. Well, he rolled a 1, so I can either say, you go to fire the arrow and the bowstring snaps. Well, now you have to restring the bow. Or I could say, you go to fire your bow and you let go of the bow instead of the arrow, and now the bow flies back and hits you in the face. Or I can say, you were trying to aim for that wolf, but you rolled a 1. Well, you still fire it at the wolf, but he's moving and you're not adjusting for that target, so now you hit the sheep. Like, a 1 isn't always you're going to take damage. A 1 is a failure. A 1 is really bad, but it doesn't have to be on you every time. If you know what scenario you're putting your players in, or what the situation looks like, where they're at in that moment, you can kind of adjust and judge what you think would be an acceptable outcome in that situation. So, like, if you know there's 3 bad guys against the wall over here, and your player's going to run up and try and punch one in the face, well, he rolls a 1, so that guy dodges, and now he punches the wall. Okay, roll for damage. You take that much damage, And so, like, I think the mental picture is really where I get my improv from. Is like, I can picture it pretty well in my head. I know not everyone can do that, but I can picture it pretty well in my head, and that's what I describe to everyone as I'm playing, Like, what I see in my head is what I describe to my players. So if you can picture it, you can describe it. For me, to answer this question, I feel like being a player is so much harder because I know what I want to do 3 steps from now, but I don't want to go through the rigmarole of having to do the 2 other steps involved to get to the 3rd step that I want to do. And it's always like, my dice never work with me. Like, I swear to you, they never do. Because I'm like, okay, I'm an artificer. I want to create this crazy contraption, and I know how it works, and I can actually sketch it out because I'm a decent artist, and I can, sketch it out and show you how it would work and explain it to you. But I just rolled 3 ones in a row, so this thing's going to explode and kill me now, and I have to roll a new artificer if I want to try and make this again. And that's always the hard part for me, is like, well, shit, how much can I do as a player? Like, I know how I want to solve this puzzle, but my player's RP is not going to do that. Like, he has a -2 to intelligence. He's not going to understand what I understand in this moment. And so that's always a hard part for me, is being a player, because I want to do so much, but I only get so much in return,
So I guess it depends on your personality and what better suits you.
It's definitely perspective as well. Like, from my perspective, I'm the DM. I can say whatever the fuck I want happens, But as a player, you have to obey the rules of whatever DM is there.
True.
That's why I like switching back and forth. I like DMing some games. I like playing some games.
Just kind of the chance of it.
I love to go back and forth.
What about next episode? We have Trevor DM an actual play for us, for Cameron and I, and maybe another player.
Oh.
I can do that.
Yeah, don't sound
like,
too excited,
I can
Trevor. It's okay if you don't want to. I'm just putting it out there.
I mean, I'm putting me on the spot. That's what you're doing, man. Put me on
And
the
this
spot.
is recorded too, so you can't even delete it or nothing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
We
if
have
I was just DMing for Bruce and Cameron and one other person, that's fine.
we have tens of
But
listeners.
now you want me to put my DM skills on blast, bud. You want me to put my DM skills.
We have tens of
on
listeners
blast.
who are going to hold you to this.
Tens of.
Yeah,
Tens of listeners.
tens.
I have
And-
to talk more
Hey.
about the podcast on my live streams. I need to let them know that I do that. I mean, I typically do, but I don't go live on Mondays usually. Not always. Sometimes.
Well, your word of mouth is our AOE, as we always say.
I know. I need to do it more often.
That's all good. We're not worried about it. And I think that's actually a perfect segue into
okay.
the end of our show, because we are right about there.
No,
No?
no. Wait.
Oh.
One more.
One
One more. We're not at our patented
Okay.
hour and over mark yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
One more question from Dr. Jones Osmosis 24.
Okay.
Dr. Jones Osmosis 24 wants to know. She says, I'm in 3 groups and they all want to game on the same day. SOS.
That's
Um,
slap our salamanders.
Ooh, salamanders.
yes. So she said, there's 1 game happening in the morning, 2 games that are happening in the evening. One of them is seems to be a very inconsistent game. She said, we never know when we're going to game until the last minute. So it sounds like she had these other 2 kind of planned, like, okay, I'll play this morning game, I'll play this afternoon game, but now her 3rd group that she plays with was like, hey, we're playing on Sunday night. And she's like, damn it, I have another game Sunday night. Advice, Bruce.
I think you just gotta say, I'm so sorry, guys. If we planned this a little bit better or a little bit more ahead of time, I could have scheduled it, but I already have something going on that evening. Like, I think you just gotta let them know and kind of put it out there and say, like, if you guys let me know a couple days in advance, I can plan for it and schedule it. Like I tell our group, like, if you guys let me know Monday, if you're ready to play on Friday, then I can make sure it's scheduled and I can, let my people know, let my wife know, kind of plan and make sure we don't have anything scheduled or anything planned for that evening, and then I can make it work. But if you guys don't let me know until, Thursday morning or Friday morning, then there's a good chance I'm not going to be able to play.
Yes. My question is, Dr. Jones Osmosis, do you want a 4th game? You want to join a 4th
Yeah,
crew?
you want to play on the podcast?
Do you?
When
Do
Trevor
you know?
DMs? Next episode?
Damn it, why?
You're the one that brought it up.
No, she wants to join in when a better DM is DMing. She wants to join in when Bruce is DMing. You know what I mean?
Oh, stop. Keep going. I mean,
No, she wants to get in. She wants to get in on Cameron's first DM session.
ooh, post-apocalyptic, steampunk, puzzle quest. I think that's going to be his first game that he does. He's nodding.
That's
He said...
a ways down the road, I think.
No, he nodded and said next episode. He mouthed it. No, it's alright. I think honesty, like, if this is the inconsistent group that you're trying to accommodate for, that's not very kind or considerate of you and your time. If they're not telling you until last minute, don't bend over backwards for them unless you really care about that game. If it's a game you don't especially want to go out of your way for, tell them. Like, look, I need a little bit more of a heads up next time. I'm so sorry. I have something planned. Let me know a couple days ahead of time next time, and I'll make sure I make time for it. Like, saying something like that is going to really put it in their heads of, like, well, shit, if we had let them know a couple, days ahead of time, we could have had a game tonight. But because she doesn't want to play, someone else probably isn't going to want to play, and then the whole thing collapses.
Yes. All right. So, on to housekeeping, Bruce.
Housekeeping.
Hit me with it.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to Carter for our intro. We greatly appreciate you. I actually saw her this weekend and let her know in person that we were appreciative. And she said you're welcome and that she absolutely loved recording it. So to you guys, because you guys didn't hear from her in person, but she says you're welcome and that she loves us and that she hopes we're doing well. And then thank you to all of you who found us or were shown the podcast. Remember, that's our only way of advertising is by word of mouth and you showing your friends or sending it to another DM or whatever it is, or taking our ideas and putting them into a game and then just putting a little ad for us at the end of your game or something like that. We appreciate that. You can always reach us at any of their social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok now. I mean, I don't think we have anything up just yet, but we're working on it. You can find us on those by typing in at SitDMs1, SITDMS1. Slide into our DMs. If you got a question or a comment or a funny meme you saw, send it through and we will talk about it or we'll post it, whatever it ends up being. And then if we ask a question, we will message you back and let you know what episode it was on and kind of what our answer is and let you know that you can listen to it to get the full answer. I think that's it. I think I did it all.
I think you pretty much nailed it on the head there.
You can also email us at emailthedms@gmail.com. And you can send your questions in there as well. And now for our patented end of the show quips.
Bruce, you had the highest initiative. You go first.
All right, since I had the highest initiative, I will go first. Do you guys know why there's no merfolk bards? Merfolk are like fish people. There's no merfolk bards because they can't sing. You can't tune a fish.
Tuna fish.
No.
I see what you did there.
That was pretty bad.
All right, I guess I will. I was the.
You were second.
I was second. So, what is 9 feet long, has 6 legs, and flies?
Cameron's dick. I mean,
I know the answer to this one, but I won't say it.
I don't know.
3 dead halflings.
Aw, man. That's a dark one for our dark show. I love it.
I almost used that one, but I was like, nah, it's too dark. And then, of course, Trevor uses that one. Never date a Warforged. They're just too high maintenance.
Oh, man. Love it.
I tried to pick the corniest, worst ones. I'm sorry.
I love it. Well, as always, fare thee well and adventure onward.
Spice, spice, spice.